Roger Hooks joins us in the queue. We are excited to have Mr. Hooks join us with over 36 years of experience. You've collaborated, Roger, with some of the industry giants like Apple, Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Universal Music Group. You've been a creative director at Supermicro since 2006, and you've built that up to $50 billion.
Yes, the company has been so fortunate. I wouldn't take the credit for that, but I have been part of the journey as far as delivering on the brand and executing the promise, which is the responsibility of the brand communicating. Yeah,
You're a humble man. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah.
You must build a good team, and that's one of the things I was hoping to really talk to you about today, which is what I'm hearing, and I'd love to get your thoughts with all your experience and work with these big companies. What I hear a lot is that companies will be able to do with 5 people what they used to need 100 people to do prior to AI. What
Mhm.
are your thoughts on that?
Well, we're just in the beginning of leveraging AI, but we've always been a lean and mean team doing a lot of work that, like you mentioned, most of the companies use several people to do. Right now, I use the AI to iterate to get a idea of what the concept will be, especially in the realm of video production
Mhm.
and still image, just to kind of come up with a rough comp, and then the team will elaborate or construct from there.
You've worked with these big brands over the years and lots more, I'm sure, not at the highest level like an Apple or an NVIDIA. Is there a common thread amongst these companies as they've transformed and transitioned, I should say, towards the use of AI? My sense is a lot of them have been using AI for many years, while general consumers and businesses are seemingly just becoming aware these days. But has it been percolating for years prior to now?
Yes, it has been percolating. The level or the trust that has been, I guess, instilled upon AI varies depending on how in depth the team is driving to use them, especially in the areas where there's members of the team that have dedicated their entire life to delivering on that specific skill. That kind of slows the evolution or the adoption of AI. But once, like with my team, I try to get them to think about it as using it as a tool. I saw a mention or a comment of somebody saying you won't lose your job to AI, you'll lose your job to somebody that uses it. And I thought that was very profound. And that's actually what I reiterate to my team. So, find ways to use it, to incorporate it, to help you do your work, and you'll be more efficient at it. I even just a couple of weeks ago shared that with even a vendor. So this is what the AI is going to provide me. There's still some things I think that human creativity provide that I think AI can't quite fill. So I
Mhm.
encourage them to use, again, even the vendors use AI, but then try to use the human aspect of it to fill in the gaps that the AI cannot.
And that's a key point because AI still can't do everything,
Yeah, yeah.
and humans are still needed. What I find, and obviously from coming from the creative side of business, that is one of the first, I think, targets because we see a lot of tools out there. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
hundreds of tools now:
mm-hmm,
video,
mm-hmm.
audio, photos. Create your own
Yeah.
marketing tools.
Mm-hmm,
So on your level with your team and you build creative teams, you've done that your
mm-hmm,
whole career.
mm-hmm.
What is the difference now? How do you incorporate, and business owners are listening, so they want to know, how do you incorporate all of these tools? How do you pick the right ones? How do you make those decisions as a business owner?
Well, I was just talking to somebody about just the general tools that have been available to us for decades, just like Adobe Suite. Every company, every environment will use the same Adobe InDesign in a different way.
Hmm.
And that's the key. And you will become an expert in maybe 20% of what the software could do. It doesn't make it that you're an expert in the entire suite, just that section that applies to your business. So you have to know what your business is going to need. And I would suggest that you start out simple, not jump in. And in my case, when I was starting up, like for example, micrometer flash came into play and everybody wanted to rush and use it. So I had to learn flash overnight because a customer wanted to have it used in their project. But in the case of AI, since it's more of a development tool and not the end use or end result, you have opportunity to kind of slowly adapt. And that's actually the way I'm using it with my team, is just using an iteration so it can help generate a lot of ideas that are closer to the finished product, which I think is really helpful for the majority of the rest of the world that aren't creative. They can't see it until you show it to them. And that's from the VP of the department all the way up to the CEO. Once you can show them that it's 90%, 80% of the idea, they say, oh, okay, I got it, which is the rest of the team. Internally, you're working with a sketch. Like I'll do a simple sketch and my team could take it from a very bad sketch because I don't have time to get in detail and make it something beautiful, within a few days. But the AI will, but it's harder to get that approved in the direction from the upper management because they can't see, they still just see a poor sketch. Whereas the AI would allow you to iterate to something a lot
Mm-hmm.
tighter that they can then get their mind around and then move on to how it's going to affect the business, not how it looks, aesthetically. So I think the small step with small businesses, the majority of the world is small businesses, you can figure out how to use it in that manner. And then once you start to feel how it will apply and how your one business will use it, then you can start to kind of carve out and detect or define the tools, the more elaborate tools, the more detailed tools that will fit your business.
Roger Hooks joins us, 36 years of experience in the business. He's built companies. He's worked with major companies like Apple, NVIDIA, Universal Music Group. There's an area, Roger, very interesting, the music business. And well, it's been transformed, as you know, by streaming, Spotify and
Mm.
SoundCloud and all of these services now where you can get music on your phone. Smartphones have revolutionized everything. What are some of the big trends that you've seen? You've been right on the cutting edge of it. How is AI impacting it? And just in general, the music business from your point of view, how has it changed and how is it changing going forward?
Oh, that's like a really big question there because you talk about the music business in
Yeah.
a lot of areas. For a while, I had a boutique independent record company.
Yeah.
Um, the music that is consumed by the masses has become very simple. The actual production of it, you're able to do it on your laptop.
Yeah.
You don't need as many tracks. I was bringing in, a trumpet player, a bass player, a piano player. You don't need to do that anymore. So it's
Yeah.
even aside from AI, just the digital progression has allowed for a lot more things to be possible. Plus, again, the consumer is a lot less demanding as far as the music production. So, um, two or three tracks, you can get a hot uh, 100, the top chart topper
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
with two or three tracks and a rap vocal. So when you start to get into AI, that's easy to duplicate. All you got to do is prompt it with the type of artist and the type of production, and it's not real complicated to reproduce and get different styles. Put in Lucina, you can get an app on your phone. Um,
Right.
type in what you want to say, and it'll even rearrange the words so it makes it rhyme. So that type of simplicity As far as making, I would say it takes away from the creative. It lets somebody that's not as talented not have to be so creative,
Hmm.
but still satisfy the goal of coming up with something catchy that the masses are gonna latch onto. And
Yeah.
with music, it's just, is it something memorable? Um, and that's just usually in the melody. And then the vocals, it just has to be memorable, whether it's a singing vocal or a rap vocal, just short and memorable, almost kind of like a chant. And then you
Right.
pretty much have the formula. So with music, it's when you get into selling records and stuff, it's a lot simple. The consumers, the mass, they want something a lot. They're drawn to something a lot more simple than what it used to be
Yeah.
when you know, you'd have a full art orchestra back in the day. Yeah.
Same thing, I guess, is happening with movies, right? And television. I mean, you can create videos. I mean,
Yeah.
YouTube is 20 years old now, and you
Yeah.
see some of the productions on there are extravagant, done,
Mm-hmm.
like you say, with software. So, in a nutshell,
Mm-hmm.
where do you see the future for creative people? You know, as you said earlier, those who know how to use AI
Mm-hmm.
can survive and thrive. But I mean, doesn't that mean though that we need less of those creative people in the long run?
I haven't done the research, which I'm actually surprised that I haven't, because I do a lot of data research. But what I'm asking myself is how many people were in the creative industry in the 80s, for example, and how
Mm,
many now? I might bet that there's more because it's the barrier of entry is lower than when you had to be a full blown sketch artist. You know, you had to actually illustrate on
right.
a mat board versus the desktop. So I think the barrier of entry is lower, so there'll be more people there.
Mm,
What I've saw, like in the desktop publishing era, what is critical or what professionals would have to be careful of is the person that claims to be a 30-year veteran uh, says, I can be your creative director, pretending to have all of that experience,
mm,
but just looked out maybe a portfolio, and let's say it was my portfolio, and said, I want an AI, I want something that looks like Roger Hooks' portfolio, and then
mm,
go in there and walk in and try to get the job. And then there's just things with that experience where they won't have it when the situation comes up. You see a video production in my portfolio, you say, oh, I could do that. And then, okay, here it is, presented,
mm,
hire the crew. Then just something as simple as that. Okay, I could do that with AI. And I've seen it. I've seen people say, "Oh, I think I could do that," and they
yeah.
just fumble, 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 fumble. So just like with desktop publishing, you get a suite of fonts, but people don't know what fonts go with what. A seasoned graphic designer had a class called typography that told you the history of what goes with what and why.
Yeah.
So that why is important. And I don't think that AI will ever have that why. It will match what was done. And I had a friend, just real quick, a friend that is he builds boats for racing. And he says, I can give you this, I can give you the boat. I can give you everything that I did to make it fast, and you'll duplicate that. I can tell you how to duplicate that, but I can't tell you the philosophy on how to make that improvement from what iteration I just gave you. And he says that
Interesting.
ability to see how to improve on what I just gave you is where the real gem is. And I think AI does have that ability, but I think maybe in higher points of technology, they will want it to become self-learning. But I think in every aspect, I think it'll be slower. So how will AI look upon the the design I did today and say, oh, I can improve on that. When I look at it, I was like, oh, that ad doesn't have quite enough negative space or doesn't have quite enough, or the fonts don't quite match the intent. AI would just be duplicating what it was prompted to do and that'll be about it. It would measure how well it duplicated what it was prompted to do, not measure what the intent of what the advertisement was supposed to do. So that measurement and ability to gauge the forward progress, I think, might be one of the setbacks or what slows the progress of AI. Lack of intuition to make it simple.
I like that optimistic view because some
Mm-hmm.
of what you read is humans will be gone in 2 years. We won't need them. And I don't know what we'll all do if that was the case. But I like your take on it because you're saying that you can't totally duplicate what humans bring to the table,
Mm-hmm.
especially creative wise. And I know, Roger Hooks, you mentor a lot of young people, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
during your career, and you continue to do that. So, what is your message for young people? You know, they may be in college right now wondering
Mm-hmm.
what's the workplace going to look like in a year or two or five. What are you seeing, and what are you recommending young people? What actions should they take now?
Just today, earlier today, as I was preparing, I had a one-on-one, and I was thinking in my day on how I myself should prepare for the future. And one of the things I should look for classes on AI. And I'm just like, well, do you have time to do that? One of the benefits I think is being a student is you have more time than someone that's going to work every day executing on responsibilities. So when I was in those shoes, I
Mhm.
spent a lot of time just creating my own projects. Um, and I really, really, really encourage people to do that. If you see something and you're impressed with it, try to duplicate it. That's what I spent time doing until I understood how to duplicate that one project. I would learn a lot of things on just production and even small bits more in creativity. So I would say two things: whatever's out there as far as AI, go learn it, and then try to apply it now in your own projects, in your own personal endeavors, and that's where you're going to learn. Don't wait for a class project because a class project is specific. Um, Find something that's way out there and try to achieve it. And I'll say that because that's what I did. My first job, I just stayed there till they closed on a Mac Plus SE, figuring out everything that computer can do until I was an expert at it. And eventually I started as an intern, not an intern, but entry level. And
Yeah.
eventually I moved on to the person that was running that machine and those machines similar to it in the company. So whatever resources you can grab onto, your best asset you have is time to learn. So again, that's what I did. I took the time to learn everything as soon as they opened the door. I wanted to know everything about the business, from sales to the creative to pitching to the production side of it, delivering, following up with the client. All of those aspects help you learn to be better at your craft, which is the design of the creative part. So I would say learn everything about it, gives you better intuition on the piece you choose to be the best at.
Well, that's great advice. He's been called a visionary in corporate creativity. Roger Hook's our guest in the queue, and I appreciate you so much for giving us some of your valuable time, Roger. Before you go, there are a lot of people who are listening closely to you because you've got this experience and you're working with big companies and you work with a lot of people in the creative business. And I appreciate you talking about how you're thinking about it personally as well,
Mm-hmm.
career wise.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like what you're saying is technology has been with us, and there is always technology iterating
Mm-hmm.
further. So grab onto what is currently available. And the good news is with AI tools, they're everywhere. You can
Yeah.
get to them for free. It's not like you need $1 million to get an AI machine to work
Mm-hmm.
on. So
Mm-hmm.
it's open to everybody. And you're saying go out there, find some things, and start to kind of integrate them into what you're doing, whether you're a student or whether you're a business owner and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what works best for you. Would that be right?
Yes, yes, definitely. I look at portfolios when we're hiring people.
Mm.
And one thing in creative, I think is, and maybe some people will say a plus, some people will say it's minus. At least for me, nothing matters. I don't care where you went to school. I don't care how long you went to school. If your
Mm.
portfolio is on point, I'm interested. If it's not, I'm not interested. So
Yeah.
that portfolio is golden. Do everything you can to build it up. Where you came from, how long you've been at it is not as not relevant. But the best portfolios that have come across my desk were a guy. I'll give this example: a guy that was working at FedEx. He just worked on his craft, and
Hmm.
a cousin happened to point him out to me, and then I hired him. And
Yeah.
yeah, he went on to do greater things. He went out to work for Apple later on, and he worked at FedEx. So learn your craft. Like you mentioned, there's lots of things out there for free. Take opportunity to take training, get training on those things that would help you learn faster. If it was on the Adobe Suite, or if there's a specific AI development or prompting classes. Oh, that's the other thing I think is key, to be able to articulate your idea. That is something that I've always encouraged my team to do, to overcome objections. So if you can
Hmm.
articulate your idea, those people that just don't like red because they just don't like red, you can overcome that because you can articulate it. So become good with your words at expressing your idea will also helps you in AI because you're just writing prompts. So the better you can write that out and articulate the idea, the better you will be at using the AI tool. That I will say is paramount because that is not taught very well or very much in art school. It's all execution.
Yeah.
I had a bit of art appreciation where we had to talk about the art, what made it good, what
Hmm.
made it good, how it inspired us. So those things helped on the articulation side. But I noticed that most artists cannot articulate their idea. So
Interesting.
I would say
Yeah.
that one thing, if I can have everybody leave with the most important thing, is to be able to articulate your idea in AI and without it. The one that can articulate their idea the best is the one who's going to get more ideas across.
We're so grateful to Roger Hooks for spending time with us in the queue. Hey, this episode is brought to you in part by our new book, AI is Coming for Your Job: What You Can Do to Survive and Thrive. It's ebook, it's paperback, it's available where you get your books and ebooks. So check it out, get a copy, and enjoy. We'll talk to you again soon in the queue.